Drew and KitKat were inseparable, their love a bond forged over countless shared dreams and quiet moments. They built a life together, brick by brick, their laughter echoing through the halls of their cozy home. They weathered life's storms hand in hand, their love a beacon of strength. KitKat was Drew's anchor, his confidant, the steady rhythm to his often chaotic melody. Then, KitKat announced her decision to leave, her voice trembling with a mixture of apprehension and resolve. She yearned for adventure, for the open road and uncharted territories. Drew's heart shattered into a million pieces. He pleaded with her to reconsider, his voice thick with unshed tears, but KitKat's mind was made up. Their goodbyes were filled with unspoken words and lingering touches. KitKat promised to stay in touch, but Drew knew deep down that their lives were about to take divergent paths. He stood on the porch, his silhouette framed against the setting sun, watching as KitKat's car disappeared into the distance. As the taillights faded, so too did a part of Drew's soul. Silence descended upon the house, heavy and suffocating. The once familiar sounds of KitKat's laughter and her gentle humming were gone, replaced by an eerie stillness. Drew wandered from room to room, his footsteps echoing in the emptiness, each creak of the floorboards a painful reminder of his newfound solitude. He tried to lose himself in work, but the words blurred on the page, his mind filled with images of KitKat. Asaal, their beloved son, felt the weight of his mother's absence too. He was a sensitive child, his big, expressive eyes reflecting the pain and confusion he couldn't quite articulate. Asaal missed the bedtime stories, the gentle tickles, and the reassuring presence of his mother. He often sat by the window, his small hand pressed against the glass, gazing at the street outside, hoping for a glimpse of KitKat's familiar car. Drew tried his best to be strong for Asaal, to fill the void left by KitKat. But the truth was, Drew was struggling too. He felt lost and alone, adrift in a sea of grief and uncertainty. He started drinking herbal tea, cup after cup, its warmth a poor substitute for the warmth of human connection. Drew sought solace in distractions. He started going out with new friends, immersing himself in the adrenaline rush of roller coasters and the dizzying lights of theme parks. He tried to outrun his sorrow, to drown out the echoes of KitKat's absence with laughter and forced merriment. But the pain lingered, a dull ache in his chest, resurfacing with renewed intensity in the quiet moments after the crowds had dispersed and the music had faded. He wasn't truly present, not really. His laughter was hollow, his smiles strained. His friends, sensing his inner turmoil, tried to offer support, but Drew kept them at arm's length. He built walls around his heart, fearing that letting anyone in would only amplify the pain of KitKat's absence. One particularly difficult day, consumed by a wave of loneliness, Drew decided to visit the amusement park again. He told himself it was for Asaal, to create happy memories and distract him from his mother's absence. But deep down, Drew knew he was the one who needed the distraction, the one desperately clinging to any semblance of joy. Back at home, Asaal felt a familiar pang of loneliness wash over him. He missed his mother's comforting presence, the sound of her voice reading him stories, the way she always knew how to chase away his fears. He decided to take a bath, hoping the warm water would soothe his aching heart. He turned on the faucet, the sound of rushing water filling the silence of the empty house. As he climbed into the tub, his small hand slipped on the wet porcelain edge. A sharp pain shot up his arm. Asaal lay there, his finger throbbing, tears welling up in his eyes. Drew arrived home later that evening, the scent of herbal tea clinging to his clothes. The house was eerily silent. He called out for Asaal, his voice echoing in the emptiness. A sense of dread began to creep into his heart. He pushed open the bathroom door and his blood ran cold. There in the bathtub lay Asaal, his small body submerged in the water, his hand still reaching for the edge of the tub. Drew's screams filled the house, a heart-wrenching lament that could not erase the tragedy that had unfolded in his absence. The ambulance arrived, sirens wailing, but it was too late. Asaal was gone. Drew collapsed to his knees, the weight of his grief crushing him. He had lost everything, his love, his son, his reason for living. He was lost in a desolate wasteland of his own making, haunted by the ghosts of what could have been.